أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بفضل الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله أجمعين محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. قال الله العظيم في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: وقل اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون وستردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. And say, work, so Allah will see your work, and so will His Messenger and the believers, and you shall be brought back to the knower of the unseen and the seen. Then He will inform you of what you did. Amanna billah, sadaqallahu al-aliyyul azim. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are those that are active in society, and they are the doers in society. And then you have your keyboard warriors, the ones that sit there and have an opinion on everything and do absolutely nothing to change what goes on around them. Don't you just hate it when someone wants to do something, or they use the line where they say, "Oh, I want to kill time," as if they have time to kill. And thus they say the idle mind is what? The devil's workshop. So you have nothing to do. All you're going to come up with are ideas of things that aren't wholesome for you to take up your time. For example, some people, like once a person was telling a story where he was seated with someone and he asked him, "What do you do for a living?" And the person said, "I'm a tobacconist." He said, "What, a tobacconist?" And he said, "No, a tobogganist." And he said, "And what's a tobogganist?" He said, "I ride toboggans on the slopes." That's his profession. He goes from slope to slope, and that's what he does. He rides toboggans. You know, another person that's entered society by accident, you know, and that's all he's going to contribute for the rest of his life. And then you have those that mope all day and sulk and sit at home aimlessly and hopelessly and do nothing. Why am I so poor? Why is the world against me? Why wasn't I born to a richer family? Why do I only have the GL of my model? Why don't I have the GLX? You know, those people, the ones that sulk about everything around them and are not content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given them. Now these people that we call slackers, people that are slack, when you say someone is slack, they're lazy, they don't contribute to society in any way. The narration says, "An Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam," it says, "Inna Allah Azza wa Jal yubghidu kathratu an-nawm wa kathratu al-faragh." Allah Azza wa Jal dislikes, He hates what? People or sleep, a lot of sleep, and He hates a lot of free time. You know, when someone sleeps all day, they just sleep. You know, some people honestly tell you they sleep for 10 hours. You think, 10 hours? How do you do that? How do you achieve a 10-hour sleep? How is that even possible? And others, they just tell you, "I don't know what to do. I've got so much free time on my hands." So much free time. Sometimes you see some things like, when, for example, with games now, they have those games where you save at different points. And then they have those games for the ultra gamers where you have to finish the game without saving. And if you don't, you start again. And you think it's impossible. There's no chance. I've got one guy I know, he's been 2 years playing one game, trying to finish it. Hasn't been able to. And then you get someone on YouTube, makes a video of him clocking the game while he's using the guitar that you use for Guitar Hero. And he finishes the whole game. And you think, what free time does this person have to be able to do this? So Allah Azza wa Jal hates these people, hates the free time, the people that have this free time to do nothing. They're always the same people that sit around with their friends talking about get-rich-quick schemes. Never want to work to make $1, always want to get the dollar the quickest way they possibly can. Then you have the people that say, at-tawakkul ala Allah. And they have a misconception of how you rely upon God. When it comes to sustenance, when it comes to health, when it comes to life in general, I have to do the means. I can't just sit there and say, for example, okay, I'm sick. I open up a dua that says this dua cures for someone that has a sore stomach or someone that has a sore head. I read this dua. That doesn't suffice. Even Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi, on the night he was struck, he was struck by Abdul Rahman ibn Muljam al-Muradi, what did they do? They brought a doctor to check the wound. And this is Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. That you have to seek a doctor's assistance. So we do what is necessary, then we do what's necessary because Allah has asked for this. And through these means, just as you have to work to earn your sustenance, you don't sit outside and wait, with your hands open for it to fall from the skies. Just as the people, when you tell them to give to the poor, and they say, why doesn't God give them? The way the whole world works is through these proxies, through these mediums, or media, I should say. Through all these means for things to move along. So I need to do what is required for me in this day, in this way. Now, if you notice that some people have the opinion that, no, I'm just going to sit there and wait. If you notice, the Quran in many verses explains how things work in this manner. For example, when Allah Azza wa Jal says to the believers to fight in the way of God, He says, قَاتِلُوهُمْ يُعَذِّبُهُمُ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنْ بِأَيْدِيكُمْ. He says, fight them, Allah will punish them with what? With your hands. You are the means that Allah uses on this earth. But your reliance is upon Allah. That I rely upon Allah Azza wa Jal, and I do. There's a narration about these people that sit around and do absolutely nothing. Where Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam walks into the majlis, into the masjid, and he sees a group of people in a corner. And the narration says, he says about these people, he says, فَرَآهُمْ أَصْحَاء الصِّحَاء عفوا. It says, فَرَآهُمْ الصِّحَاء, which means he saw this group of people sitting in the corner of the mosque. As-sihat means that they are healthy and able-bodied. Like they weren't crippled, they weren't sick, they were healthy, lively humans with ability to work. So he asks them, who are you? Must have been in the day when people are out trying to get their sustenance, they're working. He said, who are you? And they said, نحن المتوكلون. We are the ones that rely. Now, when he asks them about this, he asks them about what is this? Like when in the narration, where the people are talking about this guy that knows about, remember the one I mentioned, where they said, Hada Allama. So the Imam asked them, what is this idea, this mutawakkilun? You know, what do you mean by you rely? They said, إِذَا وَجَدْنَا أَكَلْنَا. If if someone turns up to for example, you might have someone sitting at a center. If people bring food, they eat. That's it. They're just there, you know what I mean? A bit like a statue in the corner of the room. Do absolute nothing. She said, وَإِذَا فَقَدْنَا صَبَرْنَا. If we don't have, we are patient. So the Imam says to them in the narration, says, هَكَذَا تَفْعَلْ الْكِلَابُ عَنْدَنَا. He said, this is what the dogs do where we are from. This is pretty much what a dog does. Dog sits in the backyard. You feed them, they eat. You don't feed them, they wait till you got food to feed them. So for me to sit there and wait around for things to happen is not wrong. Tonight's discussion was when Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam says about the God-fearing. He says that they have nashatan fi huda. That they are active, but with guidance or for guidance. They're not just active in any way. So firstly, we take a look at the fact that someone has to be active and not idle. In fact, if you take a look at the ones that rely upon God, they do the means before they rely upon God. And in the end, Allah Azza wa Jal will accomplish the purpose that He's placed them for here on this earth. In another narration, Al-Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam says that Musa alayhi salam has said, he says about Nabi Musa alayhi salam, he says, Ayyu ibadik abghadu ilayk. So Musa alayhi salam asked God, which of your servants are the most hated for you to Allah? Allah Azza wa Jal قال جيفة بالليل بطال بالنهار. جيفة بالليل. You know a jifa is a corpse. So you know the person that all night they just lie down, do absolutely nothing. They don't get up, they don't worship. They don't get up to at least read or study, or even there's some people work in the nights. Or even for God's sake, you can be intimate in the night. You at least do something. Rather than just be a corpse that lies in the bed. And he says, بَطَّالٌ بِالنَّهَارِ. So at night is a corpse at night, and in the day he's just, you can say a lump of human flesh. Does absolutely nothing. Contributes nothing to humanity. Just consumes your oxygen and makes more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That's all that they do. But then you have the people that are active. See, first we have the people that are inactive, they're a problem. But then there are the people that are active, but they're active for useless things. Take, for example, the Guinness Book of Records. Before, the Guinness Book of Records would show you the tallest man, the shortest man, okay? Stuff like that. They give you records, and these were not 100% useful, but they're useful to understand what there is around the world and the effects of, the limits of certain things. To understand how humans are, animals, the biggest shark caught, and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden they've come with all these new records. And these records are stupid. Here are some of them that honestly, that these are records. One is most apples held in one's mouth, listen to this, and cut by a chainsaw in 1 minute. I swear this is a record. That's the important question. There's some questions we just don't ask. That's as far as we go. The longest metal coil that goes through someone's nose and out their mouth. Metal coil. It can't be a metal rod. It has to be a coil. Okay. The largest prenatal yoga class. This one's a good one. spinning a basketball on a toothbrush out of your mouth. Honestly, 22 seconds is the record. You think about this. What's the purpose? But then there was one, I'm not going to bother saying it because people probably won't think it is an issue, but anyway. But really, small things amuse small minds. That's what happens. If someone doesn't have the intellect and the understanding, that's what they're going to be amused with. If you take a look at Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh, this great companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, they say that he wept so much from the fear of God that his eyesight had become so severely affected. And when people said, "Oh, Abu Dharr, why don't you ask Allah to restore your eyesight?" He says to them, "I'm preoccupied." He says, "I'm preoccupied bil-azimatan." I'm preoccupied with the two great things, al-jannah wal nar. This is all I'm thinking about. I don't even have time to ask for this. Preoccupation with something that is useful. There was a prankster at the time of Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein Zayn al-Abidin. And this prankster would do jokes to the people, make them laugh. You know those people in society, they don't work, they don't do anything. They just hang out. When there's a hangout, there's a sahra, they're always the first one there. That's all they do. You know, a socialite. Except they have no money, they don't contribute anything to society. Once again, you know, a processor of oxygen into carbon dioxide. That's it. And into proteins and carbohydrates and whatever into methane or whatever they excrete. That's all they are. Just a processor. Nothing else. They don't contribute anything to society. This person was making jokes with people. He said, "I make them all laugh except for that man." And he points to Ali ibn al-Hussein. So he tries to do a prank on the Imam. And after he performs a prank, which has something to do with him removing the Imam, one of the piece of the Imam's dress, the Imam just continues to walk, doesn't regard him. When he asks about this man, who is he? They say he's the prankster here in Medina. He's the one that makes jokes. He's the one that does this and that. Then he says to them, the narration says, فَقَالَ قُولُوا لَهُ, go tell him, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ يَوْمًا يَخْسَرُ فِيهِ الْمُبْطِلُونَ. There's a verse in the Quran. There is a day that the mubtilun, the ones that are inactive or do something useless, there is a day where they will be losers. You take a look at these internet pranksters, people that make money. If you remember, there used to be a fad that went around for a while where they used to call it happy slaps, where people would slap people and film it. And people would send it from person to person. And these internet pranksters, they make money from this. People watch their channels and they make money. And everyone that associates in this and supports this and sends it around. And this was one of the most disturbing things. Someone used to send me a happy slap. I used to really give him a 3rd degree. Because when you send this stuff, you're supporting it. When you send, for example, Daesh material, when they're decapitating someone and people watch it, you're supporting it. You're not supposed to. They want you to send it around. You are doing what they want you to do. So these pranksters that waste their time and people are amused by this and send it around. Those that share and enjoy it are associates with this action. Then you have the people that are active in misguidance. Those that use the media, whether it's internet, TV, for indecency and corruption. That's their goal in life. Just to corrupt people and their values. To show people that the world's become so evil. And then there's the media that's used for deviation. Whereas it's people like Robert Spencer have websites like Jihadi Watch, where he spends his time just trying to show the worst things he can about Muslims. anything could happen about Muslims and he would just put it on this website. Or you have the people that want to depict the worst thing about the Shia. You know, those Wahhabi channels that sit there and pick out, they fully edit a video and don't give you the whole context of what's being said. You know? So a sheikh says something, they just cut out that segment. They don't get it in the context of where it's been said. Likewise, you even have people that are Shia channels that do the same. That their whole objective is just to, what? Defame people. They say this alim said this, that alim said that. And they'll say this person's this person's that. And they waste all this energy that God has given them to use it for what? Deviating people and turning people away from the righteous path. Finally, our subject at hand is being active in guidance. It's doing any activity that gains proximity to Allah Azza wa Jal. Before I do these things, I need to understand that the ends never, ever justify the means. Never. Yani, if I want to achieve a goal, like one guy said they wanted to build an Islamic center in a country in South America. So they made a concert and they got the local, like one of the female vocalist singers in that country to do a concert to raise money so they could build the Islamic center. Seriously. That's what they did so they could build an Islamic center. You know, it's a bit like that story at the time, I think it was during the time of Imam al-Baqir, Imam Zayn al-Abidin, where the man enters the masjid and finds the Imam of the masjid praying, and he prays Salat al-Subh 8 rak'at. And he finds that the Imam can't even stand. The person, Taban Imam, talking about the one that leads the prayers. Imam is in the title that people are using these days. So anyway, this guy can't even stand because he's so intoxicated. And when he leaves the masjid, he sees the vineyard next to the masjid, they're crushing grapes. And he says, "What are you doing here?" And they tell him, "We're crushing grapes to make wine." He said, "What for?" They go, "This is how we finance the masjid, by selling the wine." So if I get to the point where I want to achieve something through this kind of means, I better stop there. Because we always ask for the means. We ask for Allah Azza wa Jal to guide us on the righteous path in our prayers. Why? Because we want to achieve paradise. In order for me to achieve paradise, Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In order for me to achieve paradise, I have to take the right means. So I can't say, in the end, I want to build a center. In the end, I want to build a masjid. In the end, I want to build an orphanage. In the end, but the way I'm going to get there is a bit unethical. There will be a bit of shubha, a bit of haram, but in the end, alhamdulillah, it will be achieved. So before this, I have to take the right and the correct means. So this activity has to be done. This nashat has to be fi huda, with guidance. If you take a look at huda in general, this is the first thing that Allah Azza wa Jal says to Banu Adam when He puts them on the earth. When Allah Azza wa Jal says, اهبطوا منها جميعا, get down to the earth, everyone. The first thing He says to them, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. The Mufassirin, the ones that write the exegesis on this, say this huda, being guidance, meaning is the Anbiya. إِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. So the guidance, the Anbiya. فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. If you follow this guidance, you will never fear, nor will you grieve. Allah also mentions the book that you read in this month, the Holy Quran, several times. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. It's also, this book without a doubt is a guide for the God-fearing. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِّنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. This book, once again, is mentioned as a form of guidance. In fact, even the Kaaba is mentioned. إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكَةً وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The Kaaba is also a guidance for mankind. But why do you think I always stress about people coming to the majlis? I have this thing, whenever I talk to people, I even spoke to one of the brothers today, I said, why don't you come to a majlis? And he says, I'm watching you live from home. You know, and sometimes when they say that, and then, yes, I'm talking about you. So, when they say I'm watching you live or I'm watching this live, do you know why you come here? Do you know why I turn up? I turn up to the majlis regardless. Even when I'm speaking, I go out of my way to come to any majlis. Because when you sit and you hear something over and over again, it's got to hit you in the face at one point. When you hear that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, when he was raised to the heavens, in the ascension to the heavens, he says that I witness written on the right side of the throne, إِنَّ الْحُسَيْنِ مِصْبَاحُ هُدًى وَسَفِينَةُ النَّجَاةِ. That inna means indeed, most certainly. Al-Husayn Misbah. You know what Misbah means? When you say Misbah, you are saying a source. The source. It's not a reflection. It's not a guidance. It's the source. Misbahu Hudan. So these people that come to the majlis and clean in the majlis, and cook in the majlis, and sit in the majlis. If you sleep in this majlis, it's better than sitting at home. If you sit where there's dhikr al-Husayn, salamullahi alayh. This is what we're talking about. When you're talking about nashat, activity and guidance, I swear to you, I sit and I think to myself. When I used to sit at work and work with people that you'd sit with, honestly, and they tell you I'm a Sunni Muslim, I go pray Taraweeh and they pray in this. And then you sit there and you go, Al-Imam Al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, and he says salawatullahi wa salamu alayh. He doesn't know who Imam Al-Sadiq is. He doesn't understand who he is. But I guarantee I get any one of you that sits under this mambar, I can put you up on the mambar and you can give a lecture. Any one of you that you know something. Because the mambar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, this is the mambar that has made people wear hijab, women wear hijab. It's the mambar that's made people pray. How many people has it moved? Yani it didn't, if the sunnah of Al-Hur, because this was a sunnah of Al-Hur. Al-Hur was the first military commander in the history of the world. If you research the history of the world, the first military commander of the winning army goes to the losing army. It's never happened before. Why? Because he didn't see himself as losing. He went towards the ultimate victory. He left from a losing army, an army that was going to get the ultimate loss. Not when we say al-khusran al-mubin, the ultimate loss, we're not talking about them only losing in the hereafter. They lost the dunya as well. None of them achieved what they wanted in this world from what they did. He moved, and how often have you seen people that sit and listen to this story? Move. From where? On their way, they are walking towards the fire of hell and zuhzihu an an-nar. They've been just shifted across and وَأَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةِ. They've been placed in the verse. By participating in Majlis Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Why do you think when the Qari gets up and reads and says, مَا خَابَ مَنْ تَمَسَّكَ بِكُمْ? Why? You're not at loss. It's not fruitless. This is where the fruition of the religion is. The guidance is here. The guidance is attending the majalis. So those that are active, This is the most important place to be active in. To be involved in making these congregations successful. And this is where you'll find the ultimate success. The God-fearing are those that are involved and they are active when it comes to guidance. They don't sit at home and don't involve themselves just because they're upset with a few people. And this is what happens. They get upset with one or two people. Say, khalas, maash baddi. I'm not gonna turn up anymore, and they just walk off. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.